What's the hardest chorus that you've ever written?
Some of it
Well,
are the most simple choruses. Our song "The Mountain," the chorus is it's not like super complex, but we had like 40 versions of it. You remember that, Howard? Where I think Matt had to fly down to LA to like sing one line with Howard because we just had to get it right, and keeping it honest and real and genuine and not contrived is super hard. And for the mountain, we didn't want to make it it was just about putting one foot in front of the other, and and realizing even if you wake up at the bottom the next day, you don't have a choice. You can't just stay at the bottom. You got to try to put one foot in front of the other every day, and that's a real that's a
yeah,
real condition that humans have to face. And it was hard to kind of get that right.
you know, uh, it's I look at it like you just want to. It becomes there's like 5% of it's inspiration and 95% is perspiration, and that's really true when it comes to making records because you get inspired with the Neil's really good at coming up with song titles and everything like that. But then after the song title, there's the whole part of creating the track, which is you know, making a ton of decisions because we basically have 180 seconds to work with. That's our palette. So let's just pretend it's like 3 minutes, and we have to do a whole story and feeling because we're selling feelings. We're not selling perfection here. So we have to get a feeling across in 180 seconds. And I just noticed that somebody said how many instruments is too much to put on an album. If you can get away with a guitar and a vocal, then that's fine as long as the feeling gets across. But if we see a lot of sessions coming in from people who've just started recording where they use every ounce of CPU power in their computer to put as many tracks on as they can.
Yeah.
And that's usually our job. I mean, I can tell you when we do a 3 Days Grace record, it's usually what are we not going to use? That's the decisions. Like, what do we take out? What do we not need? Like, how many background vocals do we really need here? How many guitar parts do we really need here? Because if you're in a four-piece band, there's actually five people in your band, but you may not realize it. And the fifth person is a thing called space, and it means don't play. It's like if you look at a score, it's that little curly Q thing that means rest. Then there's tons of them in music. There's like a lot of rests. So if you play on every single 16th note, you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't have to do that. You should have a lot of space in your music because, again, I've used this analogy before, but it's kind of like when you buy a house and you walk into this brand new house and you go, man, look at this big ass house I got. And then you start putting furniture in it and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And you walk through the front door and goes, man, look at this small little house I have. Well, that's kind of how music is. So if you keep loading your music up with furniture, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. You may think it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but the fact is it gets smaller and smaller. So there's no room for reverb. There's no room for like a thought to go, wow, he just said something profound that hit me before the next instrument comes in and distracts you from that thought. So it's tough being, I think, in any of the arts, be it production or video or making movies, like they say, it ended up on the cutting room floor. That's not just some phrase that somebody made up. The truth is, most stuff does end up on the cutting room floor that we do. Like if you look at a 3 Days Grace record, we may record 150 tracks, but we may be mixing maybe 45 of them, maybe.